Eia o kalani ka mano mano ka mano mano e ge o ge gabu. Ka honu pe e kua waka waka pivi i ta una. Ma ke kua hi holo da una. Ma ke alo makamaha opi o kalani. Kalani kahia po kamaka puhanau mua o Hawaii. Ka ilio e a makalani e ala ke o nei. Ia o kalani ka mano mano ka mano mano he ke o ke kabu. Ta honu be e kua waka waka pipi i ta unahi. Ma ke kua hi olo ta unahi. Ma ke alo makamaha opi o kalani. Kalani kahia po kamaka puhanau mua o Hawaii. Ka ilio nuge a makalani e ala ke o nei. Eia o kalani ka mano mano ka mano mano e ge o ge gabu. Ta honu be e kua waka waka pi i ta unahi ma ke kua hi olo ka unahi ma ke alo ma ka maha opi o kalani. Kalani kahi a po ka maka puhanau mua o Hawaii. Ka ilio nuke a makalani e ala ke o nei. Io ka hono pe e kua waka waka a Kaʻahumanu. Ano ai te aloha ia kākoa pauloa e tō Hawaii nei pai aina. Mai Hawaii mō kua keawe a hiki loa i ke ane nani o ni i hau. Aloha nui mai a kātoa pauloa o au no te ia o hina lei moana. A i ane i no au i te poli o mauna ala. I ke awaawa o nu uanu. Ma kapa no hoi o ia aina kula o mae mae. Kahi a ia wahi nei leo i kulai i kua kamari i ana. O tō aloha nui te ia o tō mahalo 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 a nui a o tō no tō o tō ki pa ana mai, no tō hoonene ana mai a no te ia wahi manawa pokole a kātou e launa nei no ia hai manao e pili ana no ia Kaʻahumanu Kuhina Nui. Ke Kuhina Nui mua o Hawaii. Friends and family whom are here with us today on the day that we celebrate the birthday of none other than Kuhina Nui Kaʻahumanu. We pay homage not only to her name, but to what she represents in Hawaii. The history of Kaʻahumanu speaks to many things, and today I'd like to focus our attention on the position that she had as Kuhina Nui. Now, there were indeed others who followed in her footsteps to hold the position of Kuhina Nui. And this position began in 1819. It ended in 1864. So it was a very short reign for this position of Kuhina Nui. What the Kuhina Nui position did was it reflected the need of our people and our nation and our country at that time. Remember, everyone, that in 1819, that was the year that marked the passing of Kamehameha Ekahi. And it was through his willingness to entertain foreign capacity and foreign technology to help him gain and secure the rule of the other islands other than his own, that being of Hawaii Island, with the exception of Kauai, which I'll bring up again later on. Kamehameha was the chief of our islands at the time of some of the greatest upheaval of our people, and some that will reflect upon that time as the passing of the old guard and ushering in with the new. These changes brought about many, many things, most significantly of which was in 1819, with his passing, also came on the heels of that, the abolition of the traditional kapu system. This meant that our people and the way they knew life, the way that they understood the world, the way that they were able to operate and relate to one another, the things that they did, the things that they did not do, right and wrong, through what we understand as the kapu system, or the body of laws that governed Hawaii at the time. That system was completely abolished. Now, there were indeed people at the time who did not wish to give up this traditional type of governance and this way of maintaining order and balance in society. However, remember that at the time, the coming of Christian missionaries to Hawaii came within only months after Kamehameha's passing in 1820. And what did that do for the people? That forced our people to reckon with some of the harsh realities that they had been facing. Our people suffered greatly because of the indiscretions and the lack of care, the callousness and lack of aloha that earlier foreigners whom came to Hawaii, including of which is the name Captain Cook. Captain Cook is known to have journeyed throughout the Pacific, and here in Hawaii, it is known that he met with some of the most troubling of times, and he did meet his demise. And so when we think about Captain Cook, we think about all of the ravaging diseases that he allowed his men. He knowingly allowed them to interact with our people, and thus began the spread of diseases that were introduced to a virgin population. Never before did our people have to deal with this. So if you can imagine what Hawaii would have been like at 1819, at the time of Kamehameha's passing, and the rise, the subsequent ascent of Chiefess Kaʻahumanu to not only be known as the favorite wife of Kamehameha, but to now sit together with her Punalua sister Keopuolani, who was the sacred wife of Kamehameha, and they sit together with son Kamehameha Elua. And this very act of seating men and women together demonstrated that through chiefly leadership that they were willing and that they desired to abolish this system. The reasons why that they did that, we can only surmise, and we can leave to the annals of our history. That's not for us to discuss today, but I'd like us to remember Chiefess Kaʻahumanu, Queen Kaʻahumanu, Kaʻahumanu Kuhina Nui, for the person that she ascended to be. It was through her insistence that she demonstrated that our people should convert to Christianity. Some in our community held fast to the old ways. Some, others, embraced the coming of Christianity. This left our people in, yet again, great turmoil because it was out with the old and in with the new. In addition to this, the position of power, such as that of the Kuhina Nui. There is no English equivalent to this term. However, some people have likened this position to that of premier or prime minister. In areas of Polynesia where we see this occur, we know that the division of power and division of responsibility then is really at the crux of what this position is meant to do. So if you could imagine that the Mo'i, Kamehameha the second, and the third, and the fourth, also the fifth, during the time of the Kamehameha rule, this period was not an easy one, and our people were faced with dealing with foreigners, dealing with foreign culture, foreign ways. These foreigners were not only American, they were of also British descent and others who came from abroad, seeking all the things that they sought from Hawaii. Kaʻahumanu was one of the most instrumental women during this period, and so today on her birthday we honor not only the woman Kaʻahumanu, but the Kuhina Nui. For leadership is not an easy task. She shared the authority with the Mo'i. And to share authority with what our people knew as the absolute monarch was something that was new. Kaʻahumanu, in her position as Kuhina Nui, had the ability to negotiate treaties. She had the ability to negotiate land transactions and much, much more. So if you could imagine that we have the Mo'i, or the Ali'i Nui, the highest of the Ali'i Nui, that we call by the term Mo'i. And now we have the introduction in 1819, the position called Kuhina Nui. The Kuhina Nui could do much, and the Kuhina Nui did much. One of the hallmarks of which I mentioned a moment ago was the ushering in of Christianity. And Kaʻahumanu also ensured that with the coming of foreigners, that especially the Christian foreigners, that everyone was educated in the Christian teachings and that they were able to read and write. It is also at this time that the standardization of our language is implemented. So, Hawaii during the time of Kuhina Nui Kaʻahumanu was indeed a tumultuous one, and also a very important one, because it challenges us in the modern times to consider, as we look back on the journey of our people, as we look to the lessons learned in history, what can we ask ourselves about the type of leadership that we will aspire to, the type of leadership that we will honor and uphold and respect, and also what are the qualities of said leader or leaders in the case of perhaps an aha, where the power rests not within one but within the many. And I'll digress for a moment and take us back to the understanding of what exactly is leadership in the worldview and the context of being Hawaiian. Leadership means that we serve the people. Leadership means that we provide for the people. Leadership means that we think of the welfare and the benefit of others before that of even our own. Leadership requires a Hawaiian leader to understand all of the moving parts in and around that individual and how important each of those parts are to one another in ensuring that Hawaii is a place not only for our people, but also for the people whom have found their way here as well. So here in the 21st century, in this, the year of 2022, today on the birthday of Kuhina Nui Kaʻahumanu, I encourage all of you to think about what will be the legacy of your leadership. Are you a leader within your family? Are you a leader within your community? Or perhaps are you simply a leader for yourself? Or do you follow others blindly and willingly? And if you follow others, what are the implications of just blindly following others? Ladies and gentlemen, Kaʻahumanu and her story requires us to think and to dig deep and to consider what exactly will we look forward to in the future of our islands. The future of Hawaii depends on you and I and all the rest of us to make the decisions according to the value structure and the system and the mindset and the heart set of our people. For it is with this kind of thinking, not only of mind, of body and heart and spirit, that we will truly find ourselves in a place that reflects perhaps just a smattering of what was the Hawaii that Kaʻahumanu and all of the other ali'i knew during their time. No leila e kia naina, e kahu ka lehu o ko Hawaii nei pai aina. Mahalo anui no ia o ko no ko o ko launa ana mai no ke ia la mai kai o ia hoi ka la hanau o ke kuhina nui mua o Hawaii. O ia no o ke li'i wahine Kaʻahumanu. Mahalo anui ke ia hui ana, a hui ho, aloha.